Hello and welcome to the Silver King's War. I'm Michael Sievers, the writer, producer, and creator of this podcast series about my father's Second World War as a B-26 bombardier. Today we continue in the epilogue for Dearest Ones, the letters that the Silver King wrote to his family throughout his Second World War. This episode begins Stanley's November 1944 in Europe. It's a month of transition and intensity, and one in which he wrote 14 letters, some long and very descriptive, of course. And of most significance is that he went up for his first mission in the first week of November. Stanley begins his November writing on the first of the month, and it's a happy and healthy letter. Dearest Ones, it was indeed a grand and glorious day for lucky me. I received 3 letters from you and 1 from Leona. As far as mail is concerned, it's the best day I've had. You can't imagine how much it means to hear from you and to know you're well. Please accept my humble thanks for being ever so kind. Stanley shares that the letters he received were written to his former APO on September 20th and 26th and October 5th, and that the one from Leona was mailed on September 21st. He continues with, I'm sorry as I can be that there was such a long time before hearing from me. You should have received my cable long before October 4th. At least the fellows who took it from me promised it would get there in only a few days. During the previous days, I was en route and I couldn't write. I didn't write more while still in the States because I was kept busy the majority of the time. While during the other times, I was having a hell of a good time. Please forgive me if I caused you worry. Since being here in the group, I've written every day. By now, you should be receiving them and answering them. The king, of course, is very happy to hear from his sister Leona. He's anxious for the news of the arrival of her next child, and he really loves being an uncle, even if it's from far away. Stanley writes that the war is surely making him miss a lot of family fun, and of course he's sincerely praying that everything goes well and that the news will be good. And he also relates that he has received the latest Temple Emmanuel bulletin, and his mother apparently has signed him up for a membership in the congregation. He writes, Thanks ever so much for doing it for me. I'm regretful to say I haven't been to a temple or a service since I was home last. Jewish chaplains are few and far between over here. I can't remember last when I did see one. Also, thanks for sending me candy. God only knows when it will arrive, but I sincerely appreciate your sweet thoughtfulness. The king continues to say that this was a good day all the way around. I got paid with 2 months flying pay included, so I'm sitting pretty again. We get paid in francs, and I received a hatful. The franc is only worth 2 cents of American money. I got over 9,000 francs, or $190. My allotment should arrive before long. Remember, it's yours. However, the following allotment, I want you to take $50 of it and give it to the Red Cross. They are doing some wonderful work. Many times the coffee and donuts have meant more than money could buy, so please donate $50 for me. The weather is still bad. We played cards all day and will probably continue on into the evening. Please take care of yourselves and keep well. I'll write again tomorrow, and you do the same. Love to Ida. God bless you, my dearest ones. I love you and miss you, Stan. Throughout my work on the Silver King's War, the decade that I spent exploring my father's commitment to his work and everything that it took to make the war a success and to bring him home alive, included so much compassion that he had for his older sister, Leona. She had met and married Lee Bernstein in college at Northwestern, and in early November of 1944, she was preparing to have her second child. You, as listeners, may recall that throughout the Silver King's War, I've shared small looks into our family life, and that I, too, was very lucky to have a sibling. My sister Cindy was about 2.5 years younger than I am, and over the years of growing together and being connected, we enjoyed the strength of a remarkable relationship that I imagine many siblings have. As the Silver King's very busy first week of November 1944 continued, he wrote to his family, dearest ones, twice on November 4th. Dearest ones, received your letter of October 10th today. Needless to tell you how happy it made me. Evidently, you had written me acknowledging receipt of my letter. Although I haven't received it as yet, you should have received more than the one. I can't remember exactly how many I wrote to you from England. However, I'm positive it was more than the one besides a cablegram. The censor probably delayed the others. Still, I wish you had given me the dates of my letter. As Stanley continues in his letter, he's trying to get things straight with particularly his mother about the exchange of letters and how difficult it is during the war to move the mail. As he writes, I'm terribly sorry if I worried you. Honestly, it was not intentional. I wrote every opportunity I had. You must remember I was traveling most of the time. It took me 2 weeks to reach this place. I was still on the road at the time of your writing. This is a long way away from the States. Don't expect too much from the mail. As Sarah Bell's grandson, I, of course, knew her over the years, and I understand that the nature of her relationship with just about everybody in the family that was under her rule was difficult and challenging. And some of that challenge has been part of whatever the king has been writing to her over these years. To smooth things a bit, he writes to say, thank God you're well. It's always such a relief to know that. Mother, knowing definitely you're in Chicago now, I shall continue writing home regardless. You may be back by the time this reaches there. If not, I'm sure Dad or Ida will forward it to you. I'm very anxious to know what the stork brought and how Leona is. Please be sure to write me all about it. I can imagine what a grand and glorious time will be had by all. Stanley shared that they had some new crews come in today and that some of the fellows were guys he knew at Barksdale, although he was a little disappointed, as he wrote, because I had expected Sherry, only to find out he went to the same group as Bill did, and Mike went to an even different group. It seems we're spread out all over France. I hope to get to see all of them before long. I received my PX rations today, 1 package of cigarettes and 1 candy bar. They're having a hell of a time getting supplies in here. The fellows aren't passing cigarettes out as freely as before. No more news today. I'm fine and waiting for the weather to clear. Please keep writing and keep well. Love to Ida. I love you and miss you, Stan. One of the Silver King's early themes throughout his training was that he really got close to some of the guys at bomber school. And that was true particularly for J.J. Sherry and Herb Stempler. And he always hoped that somehow some or all of them might be based together overseas. But that didn't happen. Stanley wrote a remarkable letter to his family from A-72 on November 5th, 1944. Dearest ones, this was a perfect day all around for me. I can make no more complaints about the mail. That is, until tomorrow, anyhow. There were 2 letters from you dated September 22 and October 1, and there was also a very sweet letter from Aunt Lena, also dated October 1. It's really grand to know you're well. I could never thank you enough for writing so often. Believe me, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I'm glad you did receive my cable. I knew you would be relieved to know I arrived safely. For a while, though, I was afraid it hadn't been delivered, but of course that's due to the fashion in which your letters are arriving. I've never seen such a screwed-up affair. It seems to be a miracle that I'm receiving any mail at all. I'm glad Aunt Lena is better, only hope she stays well. Our hero continues in his 3rd paragraph with, well, I saw Germany for the first time today. I flew my first mission. It was as thrilling as I had expected. Frankly, though, there was nothing to it. I didn't see any fighters or any action at all. We dropped our load without any trouble at all. In fact, it was just like a mission back at Barksdale. When we got back, the Red Cross was waiting with coffee and donuts. They are certainly doing a marvelous job. We also were given a shot of cognac by the group. They do things up right over here. I'm glad you've sent me some boxes. I should have known you wouldn't forget me. I'll thank you for them when and if they arrive. Regardless, though, I'm forced to make more requests. I wish you would send me some canned foods of some kind with crackers, cookies, and candy. One of the fellows received a box like that, and it surely tastes good before we go to bed at night. I would appreciate it if you do. That's about it for now. I'm feeling fine. We'll write you again tomorrow. By the way, I don't think I told you that I am in the 9th Air Force. Keep well, keep writing. Love to Ida. I love you and miss you, Stan. This letter from the King, dated November 5th of 1944, didn't reach Birmingham until almost the start of the new year. And its significance resonates with me to this day. The King flew his first mission, dropped his first load, came home to donuts and cognac. Now he's in the war for real. And as our hero completes his first mission over Germany, we have reached the end of this episode of the Epilogue for Dearest Ones, the letters that Stanley wrote to his family throughout the war. And this is part 22. And you are listening to the Silver King's War.